Members of the company, this is your Places call. Places, please. Places for the top of the podcast. Places, please.
Get ready for a behind-the-scenes look at the glitz and not-so-glam of Broadway, education, and everyday life with Uncommon Sense. Join hosts Christopher Smith and Sharna Lopez as they bring you the best stories and shenanigans that seemingly prove how elusive common sense can really be. So take a little time for yourself to hang out with the dynamic duo Charnopher. And no leaving early, because you might just miss that 11 o'clock number.
Stand by music. Music, go.
Uncommon sense, the 11 o'clock number. And we are Charnopher.
Back to school. Back to reality. You don't know that song?
I don't.
It's not really back to school. The actual lyric is back to life. Back to life. Back to reality. Come on.
Who sang it?
Well, now I feel like I am special because I don't know. But I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
That's okay. All right. While you're doing that,
It's
I will
fitting
introduce
for
everybody.
our back to school
Absolutely.
episode.
Exactly.
Right?
So, in case you didn't figure it out, everybody, or didn't hear Sharna just say it, we are doing a back to school episode because what time of year is it? Back to school time. I feel like it's
We're
so early,
going
but I
back.
guess. And she's back.
It's soul to soul. Soul to soul.
Okay.
Do you know that?
I do know them.
Do you?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
of them.
Soul to soul.
So that's cool. I like it. From your
Yeah.
soul to mine. Here we are.
It works. It works for us.
I like it.
All right, back to school. Sorry, I'm focused, guys.
That's all
I'm
right.
focused. But maybe
I'm
that goes into like our
focused.
episode, the back to school distraction,
Yes.
stress, crazy.
Correct. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today because I think it's on everybody's mind due to the fact that
What
it's that time of year.
specifically, Christopher, would you like to discuss?
Well, I think I'd like to start with us sharing our experiences going back to school because I technically haven't started yet.
Like us as
As of
adults
this
or
recording
us
date.
as kids?
Us as humans, you and I,
Got it.
as adults. We could talk about kids if we remember going back to school as kids
No,
and
no,
what that
I
was
mean
like.
yeah. You mean like as of now, as of present time, going back to school,
Yeah.
what that's like for us?
Like what's
yeah,
happening
okay.
in our life at this very second.
Am I going
'Cause
first?
I have to say, I'll start. I have to say
Yes.
that even though I haven't started yet, I feel like I'm a little oddly overwhelmed. I'm like, there's just
Mhm.
so many things happening at the same time, and so many things need to be done like yesterday. And I'm juggling 25 things, and I haven't even stepped foot on campus for school to start officially.
Do you feel like that is also just kind of like I had a conversation this morning with a friend. Like, I feel like that's just life now, too, right? So,
I know.
where something, some activity or task or moment used to be like, okay, we do XYZ. And now
Right.
it's like we do ABC to the Z times 5, carry the 1, and then use the remainder to also do more activities. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Carry
oh my
the
gosh, that really
one.
cracked Christopher up.
Carry the one.
But I just feel like everything has a lot more added to it, which is kind of
Which
weird
why?
considering we've come out of a pandemic thinking that we were going to kind of ease back in. And I agree. Lots going on. And the fact that you haven't even like had students yet is crazy that you're already feeling like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I know.
I'm just getting things ready for things like getting things ready for classes, doing syllabuses, doing my CTE work, doing this
Yeah.
and that, planning for auditions for 2 shows, planning callbacks, dealing with that, all of
Yeah.
that stuff, and just,
And also helping Sharna with everything she needs, right? I always love when I text Christopher on a random day where I'm like, Christopher,
Yeah.
I know you're really busy, but like that's a terrible friend. What kind of friend am I? I should not be
Yeah,
doing that
but
to you. But I
it's
also know
it's
that
our
you'll find it
thing.
for me.
It's our thing.
And
It's
then
one of our
Christopher, I
things.
need the script. I know you have 900 other things, but can you put me first, please? Okay, thank you.
I had to deep dive that script, honestly, for Into the Woods.
But you
I
found it
was
for
like,
me.
I don't know.
And I appreciate you.
Of course.
I'm going to second what you said, though. I think the school year in general, especially the school we work at, a very, very high achieving, overachieving, do a million things school, the whole year is kind of like that. There are a
Yeah.
few valleys in the year where I feel like I have a little bit of time to breathe, but I agree that the beginning of school and the end of school, like the ramping up
Mm.
to get ready for everything. And it's also the
And then trying
hype.
to
It's also
land
this
it.
like energy we have to have too, right? Like come
Yeah.
December, I'm like, cool, everyone's in, everyone's plugged in, but it's this like, hey, welcome back. And here's all the fun things we get to do. And it's going to be awesome. And here's your new teacher. It's this like cheerleading
Yeah.
moment for me in particular in my position. And I think even with your students and in your classrooms, like that energy alone is a lot. And I think the planning, especially if you're a good teacher and you do a lot of planning, which I know you do, it is a lot up front, and then it's a lot to close it all down, like to tie up all the loose ends at the end of the year, and like all the performances and grades and celebrations and everything. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Totally. It's a lot. But that did inspire me, as per your question earlier about what we were talking about now or earlier. Do you have any memories as a kid of going back to school?
Yes.
And did you love it?
Yes,
Did
I
you
have
hate
lots
it?
actually.
Well,
I
let's get
loved
going.
school. I loved school. And I'm going to see Grandma D, my mom, this weekend. And if for some reason I'm remembering incorrectly, I'm going to ask her. But I remember loving school.
Mhm.
I love learning. I love my teachers. I loved being social, being with my friends. I remember really enjoying that. The memories I have with back to school, though, I was just telling you right after we finished recording this, I'm taking my kids to go school supply shopping. And that was like a big deal for me when I was a kid. I like, you know me, I like my stuff
Oh,
organized. I like to be prepared and have the things and know what I have. And I remember being really excited to go school supply shopping and get all that stuff.
I have to ask a question. Did
Yeah.
you have, I have a feeling I know the answer. Did you have a trapper keeper?
100%. Of course I did.
Okay.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I
yeah.
love a
Oh,
trapper
yeah,
keeper.
you had to. Like, if you didn't have one, you kind of shouldn't go to school. Like, let's
I
go.
know.
You need to make sure.
But where did they go?
I did have a
They're
trapper
not a
keeper.
thing anymore, right?
No, they kind of like tried to come back for a little while.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
then no, I had like a Lisa Frank one with like all those like really brightly colored like animals and the stickers and the pencils and all of it came together and
Fun.
it like did. Oh, I loved it. I loved
I
it.
got what was
The
ever cheapest at
dividers.
Kmart.
Hey, we did a lot of back to school shopping at Kmart, and you know why? Because it had layaway. So my mom would take us mostly like
Mm,
clothes shopping there, but we could
right.
get more there and supply stuff too because then you could do layaway at Kmart. Do
I do like
Kmart's even
that
exist
about
anymore?
Kmart.
I don't think
Most
so.
time, no. I don't
No.
think they exist anywhere. I know Sears bought them and they became like Sears Essentials, but
Yep.
I don't even think that exists anymore. Sears doesn't exist anymore either, right?
No, I don't think so. That's so
So
crazy.
I'm gonna
That's a
like,
different world.
I know, I'm gonna hop off topic because, you know, that's what we do, and talk about the fact
Yes.
that I went to Target the other day and I was like, you know what's interesting is we sort of disbanded all these big department stores, but we've essentially created more department stores. Because like Target
Mhm.
has, you know, they were redoing it so they could put an Ulta Beauty section in there, like a full Ulta Beauty. And they
Oh,
have,
shoot.
yeah, and they have CVS in there and they have Starbucks in there. And it's like, okay, so
Yep.
we're really just recreating the department store in the 21st century.
That's so interesting. I didn't even, they're like a mini mall because then they have like the grocery
Yeah.
spot and then
Yeah.
they have, you know, the home area. Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about that. You know what?
It's
In
kind of cuckoo.
Target, if anyone works for Target or is high up in Target, I hope you're listening. I love Target.
Here we go.
I love Target. But could we put in a word to like keep Target as Target? Because I have a feeling Target's gonna get like even
Mm.
their clothing, like Target clothing used to be inexpensive enough like to buy. Like you like now I go to Target sometimes and I'm like, this dress is $50. Like where am I? Like it's just
Yeah.
it's gotten a bit out of control.
But do you think that's Target or do you think that's just the world right now?
I don't know. Maybe just
Either
the world
way,
everywhere.
we
I
don't
mean,
care
we saw it
because
at
make it
birthday
cheaper.
parties. Help us out. Help us out, man. Help the working man. The average income family, please.
Yeah.
I know.
I just saw this meme the other day. It wasn't really a meme, it was something on Instagram that showed back in like 1960, I think it was. The average income was basically $6,000 a year.
In what,
And
1960?
I think so. I think it was 1960. And the average house price was $11,000.
Okay.
And now, here in 2023, the average income is about $75,000.
Okay.
And the average house price is over $400,000.
It's not
And it's like, what? No, incorrect.
Well, and that's interesting, right? Because obviously inflation and obviously
Yeah.
things get more expensive, but that ratio from average income to average house price clearly has gone.
Cuckoo bananas.
We digress.
Anyway, back on
Back
topic.
to school.
Back on topic.
Back to school. Ooh, back
Back to
on
school.
topic.
Oh,
I love it.
Get it. Get it.
Okay, so that was my, like, when I was a kid going back to school. I also, I like the routine of
Okay.
I have something to do. I like that I knew what I was going to be doing. I got up. I had going to school. I got to do my homework. I got to go. So like that routine part of it as a kid, I did like going back to school. I liked organizing supplies. I liked getting all my clothes, my new school shoes. And interesting. So when I was in elementary school, we had what was called year-round school. Have you heard of this?
Oh, yep. Oh, yeah. I did not participate.
So I was on
in
green
it.
track. Wait, I was on orange track? I was on green track. Shoot, I can't remember.
Whatever.
But I just remember being like, that was like the equivalent to my students now when they're like, I'm not in the same section as my friends. I'd be like, I'm not on the same track as my friends. Like, what track did you get? Are you on blue track?
Yes.
Are you on green track? Now being an adult, I don't know how the heck families did it. I don't know how families did year-round school. Like, fortunately, my mom, had her own business. And so it was easy for her. But like full-time working families, year-round school, what the heck? Your kid just has like 3 weeks off in October? What the? Like, yeah, that was crazy.
I dislike that. But I feel like we're getting closer
But I did
to
like
that
back to
again.
school a lot. Did you year-round school?
Well, just like we're getting later and then we're getting started earlier.
Yeah.
It seems
But we don't
to
have any
be-
more time off. Like, at least with year-round school, you like went to school for 6 weeks and then you had 3 weeks off, or school for 4 weeks, 3 weeks off, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
know.
weird to
I'm not a fan
lesson
of that.
plan for that?
Yes.
Weird,
And then
that,
the kids forget everything. And then you're like, oh, hey, just kidding. We're in the middle of this project. Go home for 3 weeks.
No, disagree.
Yeah. It's a little strange.
Yes. Sorry, what were you going to say?
How
Liv?
about
I
you
felt
as a
like you were
kid?
going to say something. I
Did you like school?
I did enjoy school. K through 8th, I was a small private school. I think when I graduated 8th grade, it was like, I think I had like 9 or 10 people or 12 people in my class.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So K through 8th, I went to a very small private school. And then I went to the largest high school in the current high school district from that, knowing nobody.
Oh, shoot. So it was like a crazy change.
Yeah. Crazy shift.
Dang.
But because my mom worked there, I think we talked about this.
Okay.
Because I ran for student body president and almost won. Well, I got to a runoff. Knowing nobody.
Yeah. Hey,
but
that's
I
cool.
did enjoy it. I did first. I will never forget this story because my mother loves to tell it. I got like day one of, I think it was kindergarten probably. The bus came to our house to pick me up and take me to school. And I was not having it. I was just not having it. And so my mom promised that and she did, she followed the bus route the whole way to school.
In her car.
In her car. She drove behind the bus because she said,
Oh.
it's okay. I will follow you to school, make sure everything is. But her favorite part to tell is the fact that apparently she never saw me look back one time.
Right.
But
but isn't that the way it is? That's the way it goes.
yes.
You know.
Yes. But
kids
that's
freak
what,
out and then they
that's
get
what you
into a
need.
scenario.
But that's
Yep.
but I knew that she would be there. So why would
Yeah.
I need to look? That just shows that I trusted her.
Can we talk about riding the school bus for a minute? So
Yeah.
on
The back of the
our
bus.
route. When our route to school for me to take my kids to school, they go to a smaller private school outside of our district, so it's a little bit of a drive in the morning, and we pass a lot of school buses. And one year, I think the kids were quite a bit younger. I remember one of them being like, what would it be like? I've never been on a school bus. And I had this moment, I was like, what? You've never been on a school bus? I'm like, wait, I'm your parent. Yes, I should know that. Like, they
Correct. You should know that.
They think it's like so cool. And I'm like, wait, you guys, like, I rode the school bus to school every day for probably the first between, I don't remember kindergarten and first, but like second through sixth grade. I rode the school bus to school, and I imagine, right? Okay, so I remember my mom and dad would help us get ready in the morning, and this is what I remember, right? So your selective memory. And we get our lunch boxes, and then our bus stop was right down. We lived in a gated community, and
fancy.
you had to walk. It wasn't really that fancy, but it
But
had
still,
gates.
gated
Yes,
community. It's fancy.
And you had to walk down to the entrance of the gate, and you had to go out of the gate, and then the bus would pick us up right on that corner of a very, very main street, like a very main street. And we would go down there by ourselves. Like, my mom would give us our lunches in our backpacks and be like, have a great
Bye.
day. And then me and especially my older sister, because we were only one grade apart, we'd go down there, and like all the other kids from the neighborhood would also like come down and stand down there. And now I
Right.
don't recall if there were like other parents there, but we would stand and we wait for the bus. Little, like,
Honestly,
I cannot
I know.
imagine sending my kids down to the
100%.
corner right now. Like, what?
But let's talk about that for a minute
So
because
weird.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would lose my ever-loving mind. However, I could totally see that happening. This was the late 80s, man. The late 80s.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, it was
Yes.
a very different
And
world
it was
in so
just-
many ways.
And it was the same thing. Like, you know, we all, like, we kind of knew who was going to be there. And there was in our same community, our community was pretty big. There was another stop at the top of the community. And so,
interesting.
like, if we were early, sometimes my mom would go drop us off up there. She would drive us up to the top
Okay.
of the community. But, like, if we were going to catch the bottom one, we walked down there. And then I remember, you know, you had to find your bus at school, and you had to get on the right bus at school,
Yeah.
and you had to get, I don't know, like, I just felt like you had to do a lot more instead of like everyone carting their kids around and holding their hands and being like, are you okay? Do you have all your stuff? Where sometimes I'm just like, sometimes they need a little bit more, like, I don't know, figure it out. I don't know, figure it
They
out.
do.
Like,
And I am the worst offender at
Yes.
this already. I'm the worst offender.
Ooh,
I
I'm
will.
I'm gonna
talk
give
to
you a
that.
challenge then. Like,
Yeah.
I love that though. At least you know that about
Joy
yourself,
challenges
right?
me
And you know that
regularly.
it's
She's
something.
like, stop doing things for them. Let them figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, my
I think-
brain and my philosophy tells me the exact same thing. I'm like, yeah, figure it out. But then in the moment, I'm like, let
Right.
me help you.
Ah,
gosh.
that's so funny. It's so interesting too, because I think it's I read somewhere the other day, it was some Instagram post, I think, and it talks about how, like, let your kids at a young age help you do things or do things they want
Yes.
to do, even though you know it's going to take 3 times
Correct.
longer and they're going to do it wrong. And I had a moment the other
Correct.
day where I'm really trying to get the kids to help more with laundry. Like, I actually don't mind doing laundry, but there's just so much dang laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And Sebastian's actually gotten pretty good at it, but Jerry was letting the kids help do the laundry, and he let them fold, my stepdaughter and Ruby, let them
Okay.
fold all the laundry. And then I went to go put it away, and I was like, what is this disaster? Like, none of the sleeves of like the
Right.
shirts were pulled out. They're
Oh.
like all inside, and everything's like bundled and like
Yeah.
crunched. And I was like, oh my gosh. First of all, I have to refold everything. Second of all, everything's wrinkled.
100%.
But then I stopped and I was like, but you know what? They did it. They had to learn, you know, and I had Ruby help me refold everything. And I was like, so now you know, You need
Good.
to take your time and you need to try it this way, But I think that that's a lot with this school thing too, where it's like, we had the conversation about like a kid forgets something. We, as a
Yeah.
Lopez philosophy, don't try and rush it to school or fix the problem, right? And I think it's back to school too. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're excited, they're nervous, they have new expectations with a new teacher, they're navigating things on their own. And I think the fact that like, I don't know, the whole school bus thing like trips me out because my kids get taxied to school. They can make their own playlist every morning and we rock out and they get door-to-door service to the school. And then there's a person there greeting them and waving them into school. And I'm like, this red carpet scenario, right? And that's not even just my kids' school. That's a lot of elementary schools
yeah.
now. Like they just,
Well, yeah.
that's the way it is.
But there's a lot of people that still take the school bus too,
I know, which I love. And then my kids are jealous of them and they're like, I want to be on the school bus.
right? Well, I used to think this. I remember when we got a new school bus for our school, it was like the coolest thing. Because when I first started going, we just had like this janky old like 1902 school bus. And then I
1902.
don't remember how old I was, but I was probably like third or fourth grade. And they got a new school bus. And it was so cool to me. I don't know what I was so
Do you know the
excited
school
about, but
buses
it
now
was.
have seatbelts?
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of my favorite things to do on the school bus was like sit and get all bounced around and like bonk all around with your backpack. Now you have to wear a seatbelt.
I just remember like there would be kids. I was probably one of them at some point, but I was really overall a really good rule follower until I wasn't. Kind of like I'm really nice until I'm not.
That's so true. You and
I
I are
know.
so the same though.
Yeah, it's true. So,
Wait, hold on. I'm not going to say a story, but just remind me to come back to a first week of school thing I just
Okay.
had with a student this year about
I'm
how I
excited.
was cool till I wasn't. Okay.
I'm
okay.
excited. So, no, it was really just the fact that like kids would get in trouble for like jumping back and forth between seats while we were driving and everything like that. And I guarantee I was a part of that at some point. But it's half the fun.
Oh man. I remember we would get in trouble if our feet were in the aisle.
Yes.
Like if we had our feet out in the aisle and we were facing each other to like talk or whatever, and the bus driver would look in that giant rear view mirror that's like the size of a Buick and be like,
Get
your
out of
feet
this."
inside. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I put my feet in real quickly.
Yeah.
I was a rule follower. I was a total rule follower. Oh man. But
See,
hey,
I'm
you
like-
gotta mess
I'm
up
the person
sometimes
that
to
am till
learn.
I'm not. Yeah, but it's like the thing where I'm like, and Grayson's the same way, and I'm like, oh Lord, here we go, because he's like, well, why? Well, that's stupid. He doesn't say that, but that's what he's basically saying. I'm like, well, that
Yes.
doesn't make any
Yes.
sense. So no.
Yep. But that is also, I think, really great. It's like the people, you see that all the time, like the crazy
Yeah.
bossy kids. They're going to end up being really strong and
Yeah.
influential and powerful, right? I think
You
there's
just have to learn how to temper
there's a
it.
balance to it all. Well, and sometimes I think it's the conversation piece too. Like
Yeah.
I used to get in, because Sebastian's kind of like that too. And then I'd be like, look, here's the deal. You can feel how you want to feel, but in this house or in this whatever we're doing, that's
Mhm.
the rule. You know what I mean? So sometimes
Yeah.
we just have to follow rules. It doesn't mean you can't question them. It doesn't mean you can't have your own opinion, but like that's what we're doing.
Because Lord knows I have my own opinion.
So quiet down. Yeah. Oh,
I'll just keep my opinion quiet, but it will be there. Let's be real. Okay, tell me your story.
Dude. Okay, so essentially this week was back to school for our school, but our school is built a little bit differently for those of you who don't know us quite personally. And our students start academic instruction for 1 week before they start their arts instruction, which is where Christopher teaches. So I'm on campus and administration wise and organizing, and we've got all these back to school events and these buddy days and welcome week festival and all this kind of stuff. So on one of the days, we were doing a scavenger hunt, and I love me a good scavenger hunt, but I am also, because I'm a rule follower, I want it to be fair.
I agree
And,
with that,
you know,
though.
we've got, I don't know, probably close to 80 kids in this room because it was new students and their buddies. And I had to give every group the paper for the scavenger hunt. So I said very clearly, as well as my colleague said very clearly, I don't know, no less than 8 times. Okay, when your person from your group comes up to get this paper, hold it against your chest because we don't want any money. Do you see where this is going? You already see where it's going.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
We don't want anybody to be cheating, you know, and there's kids talking,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I'm going to say this again. I need you to understand the rules or you're going to be disqualified. Like, that's where I go. I'm like,
Done.
you don't get to just do whatever you want, right? And so then they're
No.
like, here, the word disqualified. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, so when you come up to get your paper, don't look at it until we say. So, Sally comes up, Joey comes up, Susie comes up, whomever. I'm making up names. And they all get it and they're
Yes.
holding it against their chest. They're waiting, right? A couple other kids come up and they go and they kind of are around the room. And I look at this one student and they're literally they're not even like trying to look. They're standing with it out and they're reading and they're telling their neighbor. They're like, oh, I know where this is. Oh, I know where this is. And I was like, excuse me. Like, even the teachers in the room like turned and looked at me like, uh-oh, Sharna, teacher voice. I was like,
Yeah.
did you not hear? And then I get sarcastic. I'm like, did you not hear the 9 times we said? What did we say? And she's like looking at me like she has no idea.
Oh
And I
my
said, well, you know
gosh.
what? I'm going to
That's
repeat
not
it one more
real.
time.
That's not real.
But I said, this is the second day of school, my friend. And if you cannot follow directions on the second day of school, we're going to have a problem. I said, everyone in here heard this. You are clearly not listening. Do not look at your paper. And then she like put it against her chest. I was like,
Correct.
well, I'm going to learn your name real quick.
Ooh, wolf ball change.
I know. I don't think she won though, so that's okay.
That's okay.
I don't think she
It's all
won.
good.
Scavenger hunt.
As you were going through that story, I
man.
was like, why do we assign super common names for name fillers? Like, you're like, Sally, Joey, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why not like
Well,
Genevieve? I know, because they're more common, so
Esmeralda.
it's-
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't know.
I do know why.
Well, because
actually,
I think
as I
that
was
they're
asking.
like the standard names. Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
the generic Joe
Yeah.
Schmo name. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
It's kind of
There you
boring.
go.
Maybe we should make our own set of names, fill in the blank
Right.
for a student
Yeah.
moment.
gonna go
So
with
Christopher, this year was
Genevieve.
exciting. Okay, you could do Genevieve. That's totally fine. This year was exciting for you for back to school because milestone Grayson started kindergarten, right?
Yes, he did. We are doing a homeschool
How's that?
charter, and it's
Okay.
been fun so far. I mean, it'll be fun. And the thing I love about homeschooling is the thing that is one of the bigger struggles about classroom teaching, honestly, is the individualized instruction. It's like, Grayson
Yeah.
doesn't need help in this, so we're not going to spend extra time on this. Whereas he might need
Yeah.
more help in language, so we'll spend a little more time in language. And it doesn't have to be every day we're doing everything. We just need to be continually working towards goals, but I just love that aspect of it. And Joy is excited, and I think she will admit that she's a little overwhelmed just getting into it. She's trying to learn everything at once. And I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah.
But
Take it a step at a time.
yeah. So, but so far so good, and I'm excited. Maybe I'll put Grayson's first day
Now,
picture on our Charnopher
Is
page.
he? Yeah, you should. Is he? Does he do like in home for certain days, and then he goes to a place for the charter part of
So-
it, or how does it work?
No, it is just fully in-home charter. There are resources. We have meetings with our facilitator and things, and we have check-ins. I think it's once a month. I don't remember all the details yet. But there are lots of things he can do, like field trips and other meetups and things like that. And they do a bunch of classes and things that he could sign up for, especially when he's a little older, that he could do if he wants. But I think it's going to be a really good fit for us. I'm actually really excited about it.
So then, like from the social aspect, though, like is that not a part of like he doesn't have times he goes and he does things with other kids?
Not specifically, but I mean, we have all kinds of other things that we're doing. Like we're actually going to put him in like
Yeah.
a martial art, so like next month. And we have
That's
our
fun.
stuff at church, and he has cubbies, and so like he still is around kids a lot. And we do a lot of individualized play dates and things like that fairly regularly
Yeah.
with other kids. So he gets a lot of socialization that way.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's fun. Well, kindergarten is super fun. Ruby and
I
Sebastian
know.
start next week. Ruby's going into 3rd and Sebastian's going into 6th. Dude,
Stop
the
it.
lists.
No.
The list, I know. And 3rd grade doesn't strike me as crazy as 6th grade.
No,
Because in
sixth
some
grade.
places, 6th grade is junior high.
Because literally
know.
next year he could be at OSHA, and I'm not here for that.
I know. And you know what? I thought about that this year when I saw a lot of the new parents and the new families. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you're my age. Like that was a weird
Yeah.
shift for me because before
Mm,
it was always different. And now I'm like, oh, my kid is like essentially your kid's age.
yeah.
Like really weird.
I don't like
really
it.
weird.
I
But
dislike it.
the lists for school supplies, Christopher, crack me up. It
Yeah?
used to be we didn't even get a list. Oh, when we were younger, like
Oh, I know.
you didn't get a list, right? Like we would
No.
just go and I'd be like, okay, mom, I need a pencil box. I want these
Yeah.
markers. Can I have this? Can I have that? Can we have all this, right? And you just go to school and you had what you had. Oh, I mean, I should even get on there. Like we're asked to bring like, I don't know, I think Ruby's asked for 48 sharpened pencils. 48 sharpened pencils.
For day 1 of school,
And
shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
I was like,
No.
my favorite thing though is like I read it and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna
Mm-mm.
write 10 books. She's gonna write 10 books this year. Ruby's gonna
No,
be a
10
published
books in the first week because
novelist.
heaven forbid you run out of a pencil. P.S. You can sharpen
it's
the pencil
like-
after it gets dull.
And here's the thing. Here's the other thing. I know as
I'm
well as
dead.
you do because we are because we are teachers that especially in schools, a lot of teachers, they'll have a certain budget for their classroom. And then if they want anything else outside of it, or if they need spot, they use their own money. Like I am, if anyone's going to be supportive of teachers, it's me. I literally work in this industry.
Yeah.
But things like, they want Ziploc baggies. They need reams of printer paper. They want expo markers. They ask for all this stuff. And I would say, and I don't know who listens to this podcast, and if you are a person that does this, as a parent, I actually think it'd be really nice if they were separated on the list of like must-have items and wish list items, because I have no problem. I have no problem bringing baggies or things like if it's going to help the classroom, but it feels like not very transparent. Like my 8-year-old is not going to need a ream of printer paper. Like
Correct.
it's not for Ruby. Do you know what I mean? She's also not going to need 48 pencils. So I'm not sure where that falls. But man, it's a lot. And here's what we did do this year. I am very proud of myself because
I'm ready.
in previous years, the kids would come home last day of school and they have their giant trash bags full of like all their supplies and all their stuff. And I would let them go through it and things are used and whatnot. And we just kind of like chuck everything. And this year I was like, no, these erasers, these things, we still have like life left in them. And you're going to use them next year. And then we'll add in whatever we need to get.
Yes.
Dude, it's too
I
much.
love that.
It's a lot.
Well,
It's a lot. Yeah.
and also, even not so much wish list items, like make it so that, like, you know, people with last names that start with A to D, please bring this, because otherwise you don't need 35 reams of paper. And also,
that's where I'm like, do they, like, what are they going to use it for? And baggies? They have baggies coming out their ears.
yeah.
Like,
And I mean, I haven't been in 3rd grade for a few years, so I don't remember, and things have changed. But also, like, I just think about, is our school that much different? Like, why do they need so much paper for? Like, just can't they just school not supply
I
these
don't know.
things?
I don't know. And I
That's
think I'm going to
bizarre.
ask. Like, I think I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask.
Like, for all
Yeah,
the
there was
money
one
that we
other
pay
thing
in
on the
taxes that
list.
supposedly goes to education, I am over it. I'm like, buy the teachers
Well,
some flipping
now,
paper.
My kids are out of private school, so it's a little different, I guess.
But they still get some
But-
money.
Yeah.
And you know what they should get more
I don't
than?
know. Again, I'm
Come
not
on.
and
I'm
I don't
just
wanna
saying, for all the
complain.
money we pay on taxes, give the teachers what they need. Private, indifferent, purple, green, blue. Give
Orange
them
and
some
yellow, yes.
flipping paper and some expo markers. Unreal. Oh, and some sharpened pencils.
Christopher just got on a full soapbox, everybody. Welcome to the back to school episode. We haven't even started school. And Christopher had a soapbox moment. Oh my gosh, school is not even in session. Woo!
Here we go.
Yikes. Well, actually, by the
Buckle
time
up.
this drops, Christopher, you will have had one day of school
Correct.
with students. So
The senior
hey,
capstone
I
class.
will say, this week though, with students on campus,
Mhm.
it does excite me. I posted a thing on social media and I was super honest about it. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, it's a lot, but it does it like rejuvenates me every year
Yeah.
to have the energy of the students, their excitement. And our school, I will say, there are a lot of things about every organization that you're like, ooh, that's tough.
Of
Ooh,
course.
our school, it is magical. And those kids like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Lopez, like hugging, how
Yeah.
was your summer? And like the energy and the excitement really, really was
It's
apparent on campus. Except,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it was great. It was really great.
I love that because the funny thing is, I don't even, well, I won't say what I like and what I don't like. I'm not in the most excitable moment usually for the start of school preparation, we'll just say, and the get-togethers and things like that. But just even being on campus this week with the other teachers and getting to hang out with them and talk with them and plan things and things like that, I did feel better because I will say going into Monday of this week, which when you're listening to this will be the Monday of last week, I was not, I just was, I mean, I'm burnt out overall, let's be honest, but I was just like not here for it, but I got a little rejuvenation from that. So it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of it. I think too, the transition from, like, I really, and you know this because I talk to you, I think if I have to speak it out into the world, I really try to take July, quote unquote, off. It never happens fully, but like in terms of just really trying to embrace summer. And that means like sleeping in and staying up later with the kids and having movie night. And so that's a big transition back. Like this week was so funny. Ruby, I think on Thursday, she looked at me. She's like, in the morning, like I am walking out the door with everything. She's like, just like rolling out of bed, coming down the stairs. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, Ruby, I'm going to work. And she's like, why? Because they, you know, it's like they've grown in, they know school's coming. And when their school starts, they'll know. And then we like wind down backward to bedtime earlier the week before and everything. But like, she just was like, what? Why are we not snuggling on the couch?
Exactly.
What? Yeah. So I think it is a transition. I will say I will never forget. I think it was a couple years ago, the principal at their school, whom I adore. Awesome lady, great educator, great leader. She's really great. I saw her, I think her daughter happens to be in Ruby's grade. So we see her a lot more than a lot of people probably. Yeah. But I saw her somewhere after the first day, maybe like the end of first day of school. And I was like, oh, how'd everyone do? You know, she's like, oh, today's the easy day. It's tomorrow and it's next week. And that's the truth, right? It's like the second day you have to wake up. Like the first day you're like, ooh, back to school. And then the second day you're like,
excited, let's go.
And then the second week you're like, oh, nope, I can't do this. You know, it's like the kids, they get exhausted because it's like a lot of getting back into that rhythm and that swing of things.
Yeah,
for sure.
My favorite thing that Grayson says that reminded me of is like when I'm like, if I make a comment, I'm like, I don't want to go to work today. He'll be like, don't go to work today, Daddy. Just stay home and play with me. I'm like, I'm with you, kid. I am with you, kid.
Yeah. Don't really have that luxury. I know.
No,
I know.
But
That's
I would love to have
crazy.
that luxury. Oh man.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny. Somebody asked me just the other day. They were like, "If you didn't have to work, would you not work?" And I think, or maybe we did kind of talk about this, you and I. Like, I don't think I would. I don't think I would like to maybe have a little more flexibility. But I actually like working, and I like what I do. I think it's just the amount, right?
Correct. And it's like it's just like anything in life when you get to choose, like just fully free will choose to do something, it's better than feeling like you have to do it. And even if you love it, you know, like if you have to do it, it just is a little bit like, I just need to go to work today because otherwise I don't get paid and I can't pay the mortgage. So
yeah, it's a different feeling. That's real, Grayson. That's real, Grayson.
That's real. But I would love to hear if you have any. I know we've sort of sprinkled in a little bit, but how do your kids do back to school? Like, do they get excited about it? Do they get stressed about it?
Yeah.
Both.
No stress. Not stressed.
Oh, good.
The kids don't get stressed, but we this year Ruby is counting the days she can't wait. She loves school. I want to see my friends. I can't wait to go back to school. We will circle back with that second week of school and see how she's feeling about that. Sebastian is the other way. Sebastian is such an anomaly because he is good. he is like my high achieving 4.0, really organized, great at everything kid, loves his friends, has lots of
For the
friends.
5,000th time, he's
But
you.
right. But I noticed something this summer. He's a homebody. Like he doesn't, I'm not talking like sitting on his iPad all day. He could
No, he
read,
just
he could sit in his room, he could be outside shooting hoops, he likes just being here. And I know he's the opposite of Ruby. Like once he gets there, he's gonna be like, oh, my friends, and I love school, and
yeah.
he'll always have these funny stories, but like he's not looking forward to going back. He's and just not upset, but just like,
No.
oh, I don't have to get up. I don't have to sit. And honestly, I wonder, Christopher, if it's because it is sometimes easy and or boring for him. You know, those
Oh,
like
yeah.
overachiever kids. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. No, he hasn't said that ever, but like I watch him do like math homework, things that I know other kids, it would take a really long time. And he's like, I hate this, but he'll like breeze through it, you know? Like, I'm like, cool, just get it done. You know, he can, but they're kind of opposite. I will say the big thing is the sleep. So as they've gotten older, we allow them during the summer to stay up later because they don't have to wake up as early.
Yeah.
But dude, 7 a.m. is going to come fast and strong on that first day of school. So we try to the
That's
week
right.
before. And we've implemented this thing in our family that I really love, that the last 20 minutes of the evening we all read. So
Oh,
every night, even on weekends, like before we go to bed, Jerry puts on a timer. Actually, I think it's 30 minutes now. And we all read, and it kind of just like makes the night, you know, like zones us all down. So we just kind of started moving that earlier and earlier and earlier. And then by next week, you know, they'll be in bed at their regular 9:30 is their bedtime. So that's
okay.
one of the biggest changes. And then the exhaustion. It's a long day of like engaging, you know? And so
Absolutely.
then when they come home, they're tired. Yeah.
That's cool, though. I love that Ruby is excited. And I actually kind of love that Sebastian is such a homebody. I feel like he is the person, he's like the side of my personality that I just love to have my oak tree. And what I mean
Yeah.
by that is like, I can go flit about and like go travel the world, go do, like, I love doing all of those things, but I love having a home base.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just
And
someplace to
and what's
come back
interesting,
to.
I even see it with like friends. Like his friends' parents will text me, like, hey, does Sebastian want to come over for a play date? And most kids, the immediate answer would be yes. And with him, it's like you can see him like weighing his like, do I feel like I want to go engage with it? Like you can see him, you know, and then he'll be like,
Oh, absolutely.
maybe tomorrow, you know, like which I love that he can kind of understand that's how he feels and what he wants to do. And, you know, he'd rather just do his work out here and like hang out with dad. And, you know, Jerry works from home. So that's another thing
Yeah.
that, you know, he's comfortable just being around here hanging out. So, but they
And that is
are
also,
generally ready to go back.
yeah. Well, that's also going to be Grayson to a certain extent. I can see it already. Like, because Joy's a little bit like that. Like,
Yeah.
you have to, like, once they're in a situation, they're good to go most of the time. But getting him to be excited about some things can be challenging. But I will say, at this point, we're
Yeah.
pretty good with play dates most of the time. He's good with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
But
too it's I think it's also like a season thing. Like the kids know like baseball's starting again. So Sebastian gets excited about that. And you know, then they look for it. Like I think school gives you that routine, right? So that feels good. That you know like what's coming and when I have the weekend and when I'm like they do, both of my kids like that. So yeah, they're jazzed. And they both have brand new teachers this year, teachers that have never taught at the school. So that should be really fun.
does that stress either one of them out?
No, which I love. Like they're more concerned about who's in their class. Like who are my
Yeah.
friends in my
Well,
class?
that makes
You
sense.
know, they
Yeah.
couldn't care less about the teachers. They're just like, cool. And they're both, knock on all the wood and everybody listen, they're both such easy kids that like I don't worry about that. I know families
Yeah.
and parents who have kids who maybe need a little more discipline or need a little less discipline or need more engagement or whatever. Like my kids, I
Mhm.
feel like I could put them in any classroom with any teacher and they're like chill. So I think
Nice.
it doesn't stress me out. Yeah.
That also
They'll be
doesn't
great.
surprise me knowing them.
Yeah, you do. You know them. They're kind of chill.
Yeah.
Go with the flow.
Yeah. I love that.
Love it.
Oh gosh. Well, if anybody out there is listening that is stressed out about going to school, I found some pointers on stress.org to beat back the back to school stress.
Christopher and all of his lists. I'm very excited to hear this.
Never ending.
Also, can I give a shout out to Trader Joe's, Christopher? I'm sorry, because I'm still searching for a sponsor. So any Charno fans who might be a Trader Joe, like my show drink is a Trader Joe drink today.
I love that.
And I love Trader Joe's. I don't go there often enough, but like Trader Joe's, if you want to sponsor us, I would put any snack or like cowboy bark from Trader Joe's. I'll put in every episode.
Yeah. We'll do all the things for Trader Joe's. I actually really like Trader Joe's. There are times that I get really mad at them. I'm like, why would you have this delicious thing for like 2 seconds and then not have it anymore? Come on.
Do you think though that is
I love Trader Joe's.
A reason, like they do it on purpose? Do you think they do that on purpose?
Yes and no, because I've had many discussions with managers of Trader Joe's because I'm like, why is this not coming back? Why is this not coming back? And sometimes it's literally just
wait. You're the guy that they like walk in the door and the managers are like, everybody, find it, hide. Here comes the guy who's pissed that we don't have pumpkin brittle peanut butter cups or whatever.
I mean, I'm really nice about it 95% of the time. No, I really am. I try to be really nice about it until they're jerks. But I just wonder, like, I'll ask, like, because they have shortages periodically. Like, we went through the great shortage of the hash brown potato patties. Oh, that was a moment.
No.
That was a moment because that's a staple in our household. No. And they were limiting.
And you know what's tricky is you can't find it elsewhere. Like you can't go to just Ralph's and find something that is like it. Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't replace it.
With that particular thing, we kind of could, but there was like a whole industry shortage for that one. But also just many times they have certain things where their suppliers just can't keep up with demand and things like that, which I kind of love. But at the same time, I'm like, get out of here. Find a new supplier because I love this thing you've created.
I love how we got I think we should just have an entire episode about Trader Joe's because I almost went on another tangent on Trader Joe's. Okay. And then I was like, wait, our topic is back to school, not... I honestly...
But Trader Joe's gives us things for back to school.
Okay, honestly, Christopher, we're going to get our favorite Trader Joe's items, and then we can have guest Kim Cantley, who is a Trader Joe's artist. She could be on our podcast, and we could include her in the Trader Joe's discussion.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. You can hear it in my voice. Okay.
And I'll have my drink, and I'll have my snacks, and I'll wear a Trader Joe's shirt.
Yes, we need to get some Trader Joe's shirts, some Trader Joe's merch. Everybody, I'll get all my bags because we have so many of the reusable what are those ones that keep everything cold? Insulated bags.
Yeah, the coolers, the insulated ones. Trader Joe's is going to sponsor us. I feel it.
I feel it in our bones.
Okay, back to your list. Back to your stress list.
All right,
we got to close this out with a good stress relief list.
Stress, like helping to manage the stress. So listen to your children. Okay. First step in helping your kids with school stress.
I didn't know that was listen. I thought you're like, listen to these options. Okay, listen to your children. Got it. I was like, I wasn't ready. You didn't say like number one or anything. Okay. I wasn't ready.
One of the things on the list, listen to your children. Just casually bring up school, see how it's going. Don't be like, what did you do today? Did you get any on your test? Did you take a quiz? Did you do this? Like, don't grill them. Just have a conversation.
That's aggressive.
Right? Talk about homework.
I like that.
See what they might be struggling with homework. See if there's anything that scares them. Is the workload seem too high? Does it not? Et cetera, et cetera.
And ask them fun questions. Like when you pick them up, I follow, I'm trying to look for it right now. I follow an account on Instagram where it's like, what was something that made you laugh today? I always love asking that. Or what is something silly that happened today? Or
Great.
what was did you see somebody being kind? Or was there like an act of kindness you saw? Could you tell me about that? Or what was your favorite part of the day? Usually
Yeah.
they say recess, but I'll say
Hey.
not recess. And then I make them think of something else.
I mean, recess is an acceptable answer for me because sometimes it is.
But I hate when it's always the answer.
No, that's fair. Come up with something new. Be creative. Another thing, and this can be done anytime. I know many people have already started school, but establish the routine and know the rules of your class and the school. Like just
Yep.
create how you're going to function within this new ecosystem, right?
And the routine is huge. We've mentioned routine so many times in this episode, but routine with your family, routine with the kid, routine at school, like how early are you going to drop the kid off and where do they go and how do they feel? Like all of that is so important just to get them feeling comfortable.
Yeah. And that one's a little hard for me because I'm not the most routine person by nature, but I do know that it's helpful. So, I love this one. This is probably, if I had to pick one thing, this is just we could do a whole episode on this, but unschedule your kids. Unschedule them.
Yep.
Stop putting them
That
in
is so much harder.
1,000 things.
Yeah. It's easier said than done though.
Oh,
that
I get
that
it.
is a difficult thing this day and
I
age.
get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but that would
But
be
I will say, unschedule them, especially and most importantly, if you see the stress happening, right?
Yes.
So if it's one thing I tell our families at our school, they often will ask like, can so and so do the musical, or could they do this, or could they do leadership, or what do you think they should do? And I actually love when parents ask me, and then they're like, but their outside commitments are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm like, then the answer is no. Like it's too much, and that's okay if they can't do everything, but it's better for your student and your
not
child.
do everything.
Yes, it's too much. It's too much.
I dislike
Unschedule
doing
them.
everything.
Okay, what's next?
Teach your kids how to help out. Actually give them things. They create a sticker chart. This is more for younger, but also could be older. Everyone should have chores, right? Like, but they said like create a sticker chart, give a few dollars as a monetary reward. I don't know how I feel about that, but whatever. Offer dessert if you normally don't have sweets in the house.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. This is probably too late for everybody, but practice the school night routine before school starts. Put that in your hat, in your bank for later. Next year.
That for some of the younger, like if there's parents of younger kids out there, that was a big thing for us with Sebastian. It was not
that
only
makes sense.
the nighttime routine, but the morning routine. So it was, we had like the 4 things he had to do before he went to bed. So when he was younger, like at 7:30, we'd be like, okay, go get your nighttime chart. And he would have to check off all the things, right? And now we say our prayers and it's bedtime. And then the morning was even harder because funny enough, if you know Sebastian right now, he's like the first one up in the house. He's working out downstairs by the time I get up even. But when he was younger, he was hard in the morning. And it would be like, okay, you have to do X, Y, and Z before we get to go in the car to preschool or kindergarten or whatever. And that was actually really helpful. Seeing it like a tangible list. That's a really good tool for younger kids.
Yeah, agreed. Another thing this kind of goes into that is organizing, like just making sure everything is ready to go. Yeah,
and even in their backpacks, it's something I try. Again, Sebastian's my super organized child, and Ruby's my free spirit. I don't even want to look in her backpack because I might cry. Child, it's that constant reminder of like, hey, we have to take care of our things because they get lost or it's folded or ripped or something's got gummy bears stuck to it or whatever it might be, the organization side for sure.
Correct. Oh man. These last 2 I love. I didn't think about the first one. It said build a worry wall. And what you do is you have your kids express their anxieties by creating a worry wall, give them a stack of sticky notes, and then have them write them 1 worry per note and stick them up on the wall. Remind them that once their worries have been put up on the wall, they don't have to think about them anymore. So it's like basically being able to put things on a shelf and not have to forget about them because they're still there. and you can come back to them
Right.
and deal with them. But
Yeah.
for now, that's where
But
they
don't
are.
let it
They're not-
take over. Yeah.
Correct.
There's a teacher at our school. We have in a lot of our classrooms these pillars because we our main
I call them
building
all
at our school.
Mr. Pilar or just Pilar because of you, by the way.
I call him Pilar. Yeah. I call him Pilar. I do. But they're in most of our instructional classrooms. And there's a math teacher at school who he's got something similar. He doesn't call it a worry wall, but he calls it like I presently struggle with walls. I don't know, but like with math, and the kids have the same thing where they are given sticky notes and they'll write like quadratic equations or whatever related to math, and then they put them on this wall so like everyone can see like, okay, everyone's kind of struggling with this. It also helps the teacher understand maybe where he needs to like focus a little more. Yeah, it's cool.
A formative assessment, as I've learned in my CTE class, that would fall under that
Ooh.
category.
Look at you, see? It's worth it.
Granted, I already knew that, but it's cool. The next one is one I love, and we need to all do this more and better. And it's actually where I'm going to end with, because it's express your gratitude. Just like,
Okay.
count your blessings. Think about the things that are going well. Take a few minutes a day to just look around and talk to your family and express the things that you're grateful for.
You know what is so interesting, Christopher? I think you and I, it's no secret, but we're Christians and we both are very strong in our faith, and, we both pray. And I find that, and if you're not a Christian or you don't pray, it's whatever, you do you. But that exact thing is the way you always start a prayer, right? Is the Christian, the thanking. And I always love that, because I find sometimes when you go to pray, you're like, you want to ask for things, or you want to, oh, I need this, or think about this person, or please help this person. Yeah. But it's the beginning part of gratitude. And I think outside of prayer, it just reminded me of praying, but outside of prayer, like it's so, I just did this with a person the other day, and I'm not going to say who. I did this where they were like spiraling down a hill about things that are bad. And I was like, I'm listening, and you can vent, and yes, but I would like for you to also stop for a second and think about how many things you do have to be grateful for. My husband is so great at letting me vent about things, because I think it is very beneficial to be able to just be like, I hate this. But then But then to stop and be like, oh my gosh, but also, right? Like in the moment of this stress, or the moment of all these anxieties, to be like, but I also have this, and there's this side to my life or my situation or whatever it may be. And we try and do that with our kids a lot. Good. Where it's just like, even just this constant reminder of like something as simple as food on your table, which I know kids look at you and they're like, what? But I'm like, hey, there are some kids, and I'm not talking in a faraway country. There are kids here, many who they don't know where, like, that statistic, and I don't know what it is, so I'm not going to pretend or quote it. But there are kids in Southern California. They will give you that number that don't know where when they leave school, if they have free and reduced lunch at school, when they leave, they don't know where they're going to get their next meal. And I think that's a very hard concept for young people who are, I don't want to say a privilege to understand that, right? Something as simple as that. When you're upset your Wi-Fi's out or your PS4 isn't charged or whatever, you're like, but you've got all these other things to be grateful for. So yeah, I think that's a big one. I think that's a big one.
Yeah. So that's the big one. Yeah. Perspective. And I also just say, just take a breath. Everyone just take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out.
And you know what Jerry says too a lot? He's always like, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? I love when he says that, because I think it makes whomever, it could be me, it could be the kids or whatever, like, oh, okay, so it is. Did your kids ever watch Super Why? The show Super Why?
No, I've never heard of that.
Oh my gosh, look at it. You got to write it down. Your kids would love it, and Joy would love it too. It's called Super Why. Super Why. It's about reading. It teaches reading and phonics.
Is it like
anyway,
the letter Y or the word Y?
No, it's the word Y. Yeah, Super Why. But the main character on there, he would always say, "We have a super big problem." Like, so there's some situation, and then it teaches you like how to get out of it and how to work through it. But he'll say that he'll be like, "It's not a super big problem. Like, this is not. It's a problem, and you're struggling with it, but it's not a super big problem. And what's the worst thing that can happen? You know, you don't know how to do your math homework. Was it? No one's gonna die. Like, it's okay to be frustrated, but what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes having that goes along with the breathing too. Like,
Yeah.
Sebastian, sometimes we have to have him step away.
Mhm.
Like, I can see him starting to just those wheels, and I'm like, close the book. Walk, go take it. Yep. Mercury
Rising.
Take a break. Go upstairs. Walk around. Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
on that note, I know we're
Yeah.
gonna close out, but guess where I'm going? School supply
Where you
shopping.
going? Oh, that's right. You said that. My
Very fitting.
my short-term
Very fitting with
memory
our
is-
episode.
Yes, correct. Oh man. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, everybody, for our views and stories on and our uncommon sense, because common sense is lacking
Yes.
in most people. Anyway, thanks for joining us today, and like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Charnopher Official. Check us out at uncommonpod.com. All the deets are there for all the things. And on that note,
Charnopher out.
Back to school. Mm.
Back to reality. I was gonna get it up like on the YouTube, so I could on the YouTube. I just talk like I was a 60-year-old person. I was gonna get it up on
I
the
always
YouTube.
say the YouTube.
No, you do not. On the Facebook.
I do. The YouTube. I say it like on every episode.
This concludes another episode of Uncommon Sense. If you're ready for more of this fresh, hilarious, and unique perspective on the world of entertainment, education, and life, be sure to subscribe right now to catch every episode. If you gasped, laughed out loud, or even snorted, share the show with your friends and aspiring entertainers because, let's be real, sharing is caring. For more Charnopher, tune in to their witty insights by checking out the website uncommonpod.com or connecting on social media. Tune in next week and get the real insider scoop on another episode of Uncommon Sense.